Welcome. My name is Julia Brooker. I am a resource recovery technician for Salinas Valley Recycles. Today on our pilot kickoff episode for Trash Talk Tuesday, we have our very own Patrick Mathews here, General Manager of Salinas Valley Recycles, also known as the Salinas Valley Solid Waste Authority. So, Patrick, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm the General Manager and Chief Administrative Officer for Salinas Valley Recycles. I've been in this business for 35 years. My prior experience was working in Santa Cruz County doing similar work for 20 years, and the last 15 I've been here at Salinas Valley. It's a great job. This is a great business. It's never boring. It's never dull. We always have new challenges coming at us every day. But it keeps us all motivated, and I think everybody that comes to work here understands that when they take a job, that we're here to serve the community and that we're doing a lot of really important work to help the environment, to help our community members, and we just love what we do. Gets us up in the morning, and it motivates us to help the environment and to really serve the people in our community.
Awesome. I will definitely second that. Since I've started here 5 months ago, there has never been a dull day. Every day I learn something new, I get to see something new, and just thank you so much for having me on board and for joining us on our very first Trash Talk Tuesday. So I wanted to kind of open the floor. So like I had mentioned earlier, this is an opportunity to get to have all of your burning questions answered by our General Manager, Patrick Mathews. This being the first Trash Talk Tuesday, we're also looking for other guest speakers. We're looking for different businesses, different organizations, other people who can give us creative ways to reduce our waste. So if you know how to, say, repair a bicycle or use creative ways on cooking some overripe food, things like that. So if you're interested in being our guest speaker for our next episode, please shoot us a DM. You can go ahead and shoot me an email as well, juliab@svswa.org. So without further ado, I will go ahead and get started with my first question, which is, how would you, Patrick, describe our agency, Salinas Valley Recycles? What's your elevator pitch for us?
Well, Salinas Valley Recycles is a joint powers agency, but we're more than that. We are a community service agency, and we're a utility. Many people don't realize that trash recycling services is just as important to society as gas service, electric service, sewer service. We are a public utility. And because of that, we really honor the important part of service, and that is that we are public servants. And so when we come here every day, we're here to serve you, the community, but we're also here to do something really important, and that's do our part to help the environment.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I love what you said about being a public servant. So yes, we are here for you. Every single one of us, we all generate waste. And so one thing that, I'm glad that we can provide is a secure long-term, place for your waste, and to also get you to think about other ways to kind of reduce your waste. So with that, I wanted to ask, what do you think the future of waste looks like? Are there new technologies that exist that could sustainably eliminate the need for landfills?
Yeah, there are a lot of great new technologies out there, and I think one of the things our agency has prided ourselves in is that we have been the test bed for a lot of different new technologies. We've worked with the U.S. Department of Agriculture and a number of great new venture companies that are coming out with new types of technologies. So a couple of examples. We looked at a technology called autoclaving, which most of us know is the use in hospitals for sterilization. But in the waste business, an autoclave is actually a great technology for separating organics and paper products from your mixed garbage. And those organic products and paper make up over 50% of what we're still throwing away. So to have a technology that pulls out over 50% of the value in our garbage And we can now take that material, we can convert it into new paper pulp and manufacture new paper. We can take the organic fraction, the food that hasn't been properly recycled. We can convert that into natural gas or renewable natural gas, RNG, that can be used to make electricity, or it can be actually cleaned up and placed into our utility pipelines and supplement natural gas that's produced from the earth. So the great news is technologies like that have multiple purposes, and they can really, really reduce our dependence on landfilling. Our agency's also looked at other technologies that are probably more controversial in California, like gasification. Now, these are technologies that are actually becoming very prevalent in Europe and Asia, but we tend to be about 20 years behind the people on the other side of the pond when it comes to some of these technologies, and they're not acceptable, and they still have stigma of being incineration, which they're not. But nonetheless, some of those technologies can actually get us very close to not needing landfills. Those technologies can actually convert, after you pulled out the things that have recycling value, they can convert the leftover materials that has no value into some type of a fuel or energy that again can be designed to be very clean burning fuel, just like natural gas. So there's some options out there that really get us very close to eliminating the need for landfills, and there's new technologies coming every day. Every day we read something about another scientist or another engineering firm that has come up with another way to get something out of the waste stream that we've had a difficult time doing. But one of the things that we always forget about, and when you talk to people that are really deep into climate science, one of the things we don't seem to acknowledge yet is that the worst part of the contribution we make to climate change is not in the product, it's in the packaging of the product. And we spend so much time on single-use items, whether it's a single-use yogurt cup or whether it's just multiple redundant packaging to ship something. That creates a lot of one-time use material that, again, requires a lot of energy to recover it, convert it back into new product. And no matter how you look at it, packaging is really one of our biggest problems. It's not just what we throw away that's worn out or not used, it's stuff that we only use once. So, you know, addressing packaging, which I know we're very aggressive in California, but the challenge in California is that we're competing against companies or other states and other countries who aren't as aggressive about that. And because of that, they maintain an economic advantage and can sell products cheaper because they're not worried about the packaging or the repercussions of the product like we are. So that puts us at an economic disadvantage. So it really is a very difficult challenge to be both a leader in that environment, but also to compete on the international markets for selling your products. So packaging, I think, is one of the most underrated issues that we really haven't talked about. And I know we do a lot of work here to try to encourage people, you know, bring your own container when you go shopping, you know, buy items in bulk, don't buy single-use packaging if you can avoid it. But we live a fast lifestyle, and it's convenient to go get that case of yogurt at Costco, all in their own individual little single-serving containers, and that really makes up a lot of what we're throwing away today. And that's an area we really have to focus on as much as recycling and reuse and all the other things we do is actually changing the environment around packaging and creating something that is far more sustainable or reusable.
That makes sense, you know, and what you're saying is just, it resonates because it's so easy to, with your thumb, I'm going to order this on Amazon, and then the package comes and it's in a box, and then it has the tape, and then it has the inside packaging, and then it has the other packaging inside, until you finally get down to the actual nugget that you ordered, and then you're left with the rest of the packaging that's either recyclable or it's not. So I definitely see what you're saying there about the packaging, and it's hard because I feel like the things that might be, you know, less packaged, it's not so accessible and it's not, as ubiquitous as what is that comes in all of the packaging. So
Yeah, when you think of someone like Amazon, what they're offering us as a consumer is efficiency, right? You can order something tonight and have it tomorrow, right? And to do that, they can't have, for instance, they can't have a box that fits everything they sell. And so you end up getting a lot of products that, one, have a lot of airspace in them, right? And they have to fill that airspace up with, well, fortunately Amazon's, more proactive than some companies. They use the pillows, right? The little film plastic pillows to fill up that airspace. But when you think about that, that box is now taking up a lot more room in the delivery truck, which means they can deliver fewer boxes because they're not delivering the original product size box. They're delivering a really big box that's got a lot of airspace in it. So now they can carry less boxes, which means they need more trucks, they need more drivers, they create more pollution, et cetera, et cetera. But they have to do that because they can't have a box for every single size product. And so that's the efficiency part. They're trading off efficiency for some environmental offsets, right? That aren't necessarily positive. So, and it's not. And I don't actually blame companies that do that. We're the consumers that demand that. We ask for that, right? We live a busier and busier lifestyle. Of course, we're bombarded by advertising and media and all kinds of conveniences that we all want to get. But at the end of the day, we're the ones that make the demand. And so when I talk to people about environmental stewardship, the simplest thing you can do is make the right choice as a consumer. Because the markets will be driven by the consumer, not the other way around. I know we all want to think it's driven the other way around because we're inundated to want something, right? We're shown on the media how much we really want that product. And so we get our credit card out and we dial the phone and we say, ship me that product, and it shows up in a day or two. But at the end of the day, if we change our habits, we can create more change. Because if we don't change our habits, we're going to continue to struggle with, again, packaging, shipping, all the logistics that go around buying a thing. All of those things contribute to the climate challenges we have now.
Absolutely. Thank you. And you actually kind of touched on my last question, which was, since the spirit of this show is to, talk a little trash, but it's also to talk about creative ways that we can reduce waste, us as the, say, the consumers. So, with that, what is one thing that you would tell the audience or the consumers? What's something that we can do to help reduce our waste, to help reduce our contributions to the landfill?
Well, I think what we just talked about is probably the most impactful thing we can do as a consumer is to make smart choices.
Make smart choices.
Buy the large tub of yogurt and get a Tupperware and refill it every day, right? You're creating less packaging. That's real small things that you can do to change your everyday lifestyle. Make sure the products you buy can either be repaired or reused. If you're buying clothing, maybe think about donating that clothing before it's not reusable. Keep that clothing in the system as long as possible. Buy products that are designed to be repaired. Not all things can be repaired. I mean, one of the big problems we have in this country right now, and all of our recycling processing plants that handle all of our curbside recycling have the same problem. That's lithium-ion batteries. Those batteries are embedded in everything we get, including trinkets and giveaways we get. They have little batteries. Those batteries cause fires.
Right.
And so, you go to an event, maybe don't take those products. Maybe if you reduce your demand, the vendor that's handing those out as a promotional item, maybe you'll think, well, maybe I should get something that's more functional, right? Because people need to be aware that those batteries actually create lots of problems and lots of liabilities for the garbage companies and the people that process our recycling, because you can't recover without tearing tearing that product apart.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just, little things that you can do as a consumer. Just think through everything, because everything has a circular effect,
Right.
both positive and negative,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's not just that, oh, I'm done with this little cheapy flashlight I got, as
Yeah.
as a giveaway, and I'm just gonna throw it in the trash can. Well, guess what? Now that little flashlight gets crushed in the garbage truck, starts a fire in the garbage truck. Next thing you know, you got a $500,000 garbage truck that's sitting on the side of the road, and it's a smoldering piece of junk. Or it gets to the recycling plant, and I know many of my peers that I talk with all the time, have gone through this. Millions and millions of dollars of damage. So think about those things. People just need to think a little bit for
Right.
themselves, and they can make even small contributions by just starting to change your habits a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really is going to be the biggest thing that we can do as a community, and stay connected with your local entities, like us, like our garbage companies. They're all our partners in our cities, in the counties. We're all in this together as a partnership, and as long as we can continue to convey a common message, we let people know what you can recycle at home. Right, one of the things we've struggled with in the last few years has been plastics.
Yes.
Right, and what
Yep.
plastics can you recycle? Well, there was a time when we were recycling all the plastics. But the reality is that was wish cycling, because some of those plastics, some of the numbered plastics, are really not economically recyclable. And
Right.
so while we're telling people you could recycle, and they get to the plant and they only go for the high value plastics, and those other ones would end up as residue, and they would travel back to the landfill. So they take a very, very long, expensive trip to the landfill. So it's getting people to, as we say here, recycle right. We have apps for that help each community understand what you can and can't put into the recycling bin. And so I think by focusing on even paying attention to the packaging when you buy something, right? If it's a number 1, it's a number 2 plastic, a number 5 plastic, those are all recyclable. If it's something different, maybe consider not buying that product, because it is not in a recyclable packaging that's recyclable in your community or in our community. So those are other areas where people can make just really simple choices.
Yeah.
Just look at the bottom of the container.
Absolutely.
If it's not recyclable in this community, then maybe think about finding one that has a packaging that is.
Thank you so much, and to piggyback on that, I am new to the agency, and I will say just being connected and aware has already influenced my purchasing behaviors, where I now just take that extra second to decide, do I really need this, and what's this made out of? What is this recyclable? How long will I be holding on to this item? And so I think just taking that extra second can definitely help, like, everyone kind of reduce their own waste and their own contributions to the landfill. So
Absolutely. See,
yeah.
this container, this cup is 16 years old, and if you try to look at something like that I come and I get my water out of a 5-gallon container and a cooler. How many bottles did I save? Right, by just simply using my own container and not buying a bottle that I might go through 2 or 3 bottles a day, instead of filling this up 2 or 3 times. So even things like that. I mean, we always talk about it, but you got to really think about the long-term benefit. Do the math, right?
Yeah.
Three bottles a day, 365 days a year, it's over 1,000 bottles.
Yeah.
That if I chose to use a reusable container and get something out of a water cooler or out of the faucet, that's a huge, because those are all one-time uses, right? It took a huge amount of energy to get the oil out of the ground, to create the film plastic or the plastic resin to create that bottle, and then you had to pack it, it had to go away, and then someone else comes out and picks it up, and they take it somewhere and they process it. and they package it and bale it, and they ship it off to a plastic manufacturer who deconstructs it and turns it back into new plastic resin. There's a lot of energy in that bottle,
Yeah.
right? Just for that one bottle,
Mm-hmm.
just one. And you take that and you've got 1,000 of them. I mean, little things like that have tremendous impact. But yet,
yeah.
we see plastic bottles everywhere. You know, and I'm not saying I'm perfect and I never ever use a plastic bottle, but this thing lives with me, as you can tell.
I love that it's getting so much use.
I mean,
Yes.
it's you know, it really just, all it means is there's a whole bunch of, I saved a bunch of bottles.
Yeah. And I would second that and say, like, let's celebrate our little wins. You know, the fact that, like, I remembered to bring my reusable thermos and it's filled with the coffee that I made. Like, I'm going to celebrate that. And I think staying kind of hopeful in that way is definitely a good way to feel like we're making, you know, steps in the right direction.
And we can all do it. It's real simple.
Mhm.
You just, you know, and it doesn't have to be a grand contribution. It can be something as simple as having a reusable container, right?
Mm-hmm.
Making a different purchasing choice for something that reduces your dependence on not just the landfill, but on energy in general, because this is all, everything is about energy.
Yes.
Whether it's energy to move something, energy to make something, energy to extract something from the earth. It's all energy, and every place where you can reduce that, you're going to make a small contribution to the climate. If we all thought that way, well, we probably wouldn't be in the predicaments we're in right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yes, definitely staying aware, staying conscious on this. Well, thank you so much for answering all of my questions and for being here on our first Trash Talk Tuesday.
I'm honored.
Thank you. I just wanted to turn it to our audience, those who are in our live room today. If you have any questions for us, feel free and put it in the comments, or you can later kind of DM us on Instagram, any which way. But if you have anything now for Patrick while we have him live, now is your chance. Gia, do we have any comments from the audience?
Not yet.
Okay, well, I'll give it a few more seconds, and if anybody is in the audience that does want to give us a little question or anything, feel free. Now's the time. I'll use this time to reiterate that this is our very first live kickoff episode for Trash Talk Tuesday. And so this is going to be a recurring series that happens on the third Tuesday of every month. We are looking for guest speakers, so if you're interested in showing us your creative way that you reduce waste, different businesses, different organizations, we are looking for you. So feel free and reach out to us through our social media platforms. Also, I wanted to say that this video will be available on our Instagram platform, and we'll also be planting it on our website and through our other platforms as well. But the benefit of being live is that we can all have a chat. So
We have one question.
we have a question.
How much capacity do our area landfills have? Oh, no, wait, they rewrite it. How much years until full? How much?
How many years until our
Our,
landfill?
our
landfill is
Salinas
full.
Valley landfill is called the Johnson Canyon landfill, about 2.5 miles outside of City Gonzales. Right now, we've just re-estimated our life, and we have approximately 45 years of life left. And that serves, again, the entire Salinas Valley, which are all the cities and communities along the 101 corridor from Santa Cruz, Santa Clara County, San Benito, down to San Luis Obispo.
45 years. And, you know, kind of with that question, I remember, Patrick, you and I had a chat about what happens next. So I remember hearing, like, let's extend the life of our landfill as long as we can, because who really wants to have a landfill, like, in their backyard? Nobody. So I can only imagine how difficult it might be to build a new landfill, right?
Yeah, we've actually already extended the life of Johnson Canyon just through the recycling, waste recovery programs, and waste diversion programs that you guys so passionately take to the community every day. And I think that in itself, you know, we had a landfill that maybe was originally designed to be 20, 25 years. You know, and we've been able to extend it through creative approaches to not just how we operate the landfill, but also to getting more materials out of the landfill.
Right.
So I think those are important, and of course some of those technologies we talked about earlier, if they were to come to fruition locally, we could be looking at extending that life of that landfill to 80, 90, even 100 years or longer. And some of those technologies almost would get rid of the need for a landfill,
Yeah.
or at least come very close to it. So, those are the most utopian types of views, and there are a lot of hurdles to get there, obviously, with some of the technologies that maybe are still not socially acceptable here.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, we got to do something with the garbage, and putting it in a big hole in the ground that has to be babysat for decades or centuries,
Right.
because it poses a long-term environmental threat, so it has to be managed even after it's not operating. Is that really our best solution? And I think the answer is probably no. But right now, landfills are a necessary evil, and we do accept the fact that we still have to do that. We do it begrudgingly, but with the hope that someday we're going to find something else we can do with our garbage that's going to give us a better environment and give us something that's more sustainable, more circular. And I think circular is the big word here, and that's a whole nother trash talk in the future.
Yeah.
We can talk about circular, because circular economy, circular product management, product stewardship, all those things are all going to be a really big part of a long-term sustainable waste management strategy for the world, actually, not just for our country and our state.
Right. I think we need a trash talk part 2 with Patrick Mathews. I'm sure there's so much to talk about. But I do just want to say thank you all so much for joining us during your lunchtime to talk a little trash with us. We'll go ahead and kind of conclude our session today. Thank you so much, Patrick, for joining us and for answering all of our questions today.
Happy to do it.
All right, and I just want to thank everyone again for being here. Happy National Recycling Day. Also known as America Recycles Day. And thank you so much. I hope this inspired you to maybe think consciously about your next purchase, or to just be a little more aware of the waste that we create, and then just be joyful for celebrating our little wins here. So thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Awesome! Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, we worked through all the hiccups.
Does it save it by itself, or do you need to
Let's
push
see.
anything else?
So, let's see. My video ended. View insights. Definitely not discard video.